Good evening, familia. It is Saturday night, approximately 8 p.m. And I wanted to make this video to give you an update about my contact with Mr. Del Valle in Laredo. And what I'm first going to do is I'm going to create what I call an executive summary for those of you who are very busy and you don't want to hear the entire video, which will probably be like 15 to 20 minutes. What I'm going to do is give you the main points that I'm going to make, okay? So number one, Mr. Del Valle, and you can see this in the video prior to this one, has said no more home visits. He said, well, I'll leave it at that, right? Number two, what my goal in the future when he eventually moves out is to put in an offer, a bid for the flooring in the kitchen. And what I can envision, that flooring, I presume, they're gonna have to remove it, right? In the video, you can see that it's messed up, but what I was envisioning is taking portions of that wood and creating framed items with portions of the wood floor in a frame, okay? Number three, I'm going to go over this letter from Juan's campaign from 1993. And number four, I'm going to talk about a new series for the Memorial Channel that I will need help with, and we'll talk about that later. So this will be the start of the video. That's the executive summary of what I'm about to talk about. So I attempted, let me give you some background information. About 10 days ago, I created a video for Mr. Del Valle, and it was about 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long. I created a standalone channel called the Julian and Joe channel because I like to write, but I was in the mood to write 10 days ago. So I created the video. He saw the video. I tried to upload it, and it failed. So I'm going to try again after I post this video. And you may be wondering, why am I even sharing that with you? And the reason I'm sharing it with you is because I want to be 100% transparent in reference to my correspondence with him, what I'm saying to him, just things in general. And in the video prior to this one, I think it's dated May 9th, if I'm not mistaken, I read his response to my video, okay? And it's approximately 2 pages long. And in this video, he tells me, because this is what happened, right? I essentially said, or I asked, would it be possible for Tio Rene and Tia Nena to tour your home, because Tio Rene lived there, and he would love to visit because he hasn't been inside that house for 60 years. I also had suggested or proposed that Mr. Del Valle could meet my brother and mother on their way to Zapata, and they could stop by. And the reason it would be good for Mr. Del Valle to meet my brothers, because my brother's a real estate attorney. They're going to be hiring a contractor, and it never hurts to have a real estate contractor who's worked on renovations, who knows the business, just have another set of eyes, and that's all I suggested. So Mr. Del Valle basically said, well, my niece and I determined that no more visits, you got your video, you have what you need, etc. I'm frustrated, but again, it's his decision. No, I shouldn't say again, but it's his decision. It's his home. And as I told my mom, I don't want to treat his home like it's Disneyland. It's his private home. It's his private place. And it's not for tourists, right? So I attempted to make it happen. It didn't go the way I wanted to, okay? So my theory is that I'm still going to stay in contact with him because I think there's a lot of stories that I still want to hear. In fact, one of the stories is alluded to in this letter that's actually in the prior video where he refers to our grandmother as, he said, my aunt Dorita Gomez Lopez used to mention your dear grandmother Aurita, Aurorita, Aurorita. I think that's such a cute name. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. Little tidbits, little stories, little things that have been floating around in Laredo. If I can capture it like a butterfly for all of us, it would be a success, in my opinion. So, as I said in the executive summary, what I'm going to try to do is once he moves out and once I can hopefully make contact with the contractors, I'm going to say to Mr. Del Valle, listen, I'd be happy to give you X amount of dollars if I could come to Laredo when they're pulling the floor out. I'll back up my car and I'll take the flooring. So it's one less thing your contractor has to do. And what I can envision is making many of, or assembling frames with pieces of that wood floor and maybe a picture of the house. What would be really awesome is if we could acquire pictures of all of you or some of you standing in front of the house with pieces of that wood. I'm also going to try to see if I can buy that kitchen table in there, because I doubt he's going to take that kitchen table to Alice, Texas. The table has to be 40 to 50 years old, and if I can acquire that table, I think that would be a wonderful item. I don't know if it was there before, I doubt it, but just the fact that that table was in that house for so long means something to me, right? And so that's my game plan. I'm disappointed that he shut the door on us, in reference to visiting the home, because it would have been amazing to film Tio Rene walking through the house. Now, we can still do that in the future once construction starts. He pulls his stuff out and we can find a way to have some house visits independent of him. And I don't give up easily. I'm going to be very persistent on this because I personally would love to have a portion of that wood. In fact, in my office, I have a little piece of wood and it's signed and it says, this is from the Fairmont Hotel that was moved in, 1984. And I found it at a thrift shop and I thought, this is amazing. It's a little piece of history. Same story with the flooring at the house. By the way, in reference to the name Farragut, I did some research, and it's actually a Spanish name. It's from España. And Mr. Enrique Ramon, in the interview, I did the first interview with Mr. Enrique Ramon. He pronounced it Farragut. But if it's a Spanish name, it would essentially be Farragut. And I did some very basic research on the name Farragut because I thought to myself, well, how do you pronounce it? Is it Farragut? Is it an English name? And I shouldn't be surprised. It's a Spanish name, Farragut. And there's some interesting stuff on the name Farragut, and I may even do a whole video on that. In fact, I even offered Mr. Del Valle an opportunity to do some research for me, for us, in Laredo with the neighbors, and he essentially said all of these homes have been sold over the past 20, 30, 40 years. There's maybe one or two original owners. He didn't have any interest in doing that because I think there's some great stories still there. And I thought, well, maybe he wants to make a few bucks on the side. Who wouldn't? But he wasn't crazy about that idea. Am I frustrated and a little disappointed? Yes, but again, I was blessed. We were blessed that I was able to get into the house, film 30 minutes worth of content, and obviously interview the man who occupied the house after our grandparents departed, right, from that home. So, that's my update as far as Laredo and that home. That's my goal. If any of you have any ideas, suggestions, or anything else, feel free to send me a DM, or you can respond in the group chat. So what I wanted you to know is how I'm doing with the project, how things are coming along. But I also wanted you to know, as I said in the introduction, this is exactly what I'm telling him. And again, I'm gonna try to upload the video. It failed. I don't know why, but I want you to hear everything. What I told him, what he told me, and so forth. So again, I don't have to do that, but I'm trying to give you context as to his decision and what his plans are as far as this house, okay? So I also wanted to share this with you, and I was going through some albums and I came across this. So this is from April 15th, 1993. I'm gonna scroll up slowly so you can see everything. I'm going to read this to you, okay? It's not easy to read. Okay, so this is dated April 15th, 1993. Mr. Jose Luis Solis, 3502 Lakefield, San Antonio, Texas, 78230. It says, Dear Jose, scratched out. Theo, scratched out. Sorry, Joey. Thank you for your generous contribution to my re-election campaign. I appreciate your support. If I can be of assistance, please do not hesitate to contact me. Sincerely, Juan F. Solis III. P.S. How was the trip? And on the back side is the following. I'm going to read this to you also. May 1st, 1993, polling officials. Mr. Jose Luis Solis is my representative and is authorized to obtain the final tally at poll closing time. Your assistance is appreciated. Juan F. Solis III, Councilman, District 5. So there you go. Wonderful piece of history. And as a side note, as far as this trip that Johnny is referring to, Juanito's referring to, I took either this letterhead or a sign to the Great Wall of China, and I took a picture of me holding the sign at the Great Wall of China. I had the picture developed, and then I sent it to Juanito, and I know he's told me on several occasions he still has the picture. So it's kind of funny that, you know, he's asking about how was the trip, and I ended up taking his content to China. No, and so this is a picture. Let me see. Let me try to do this. I love this picture. Look at this. Is that incredible or what? Huh? What a bus. You see, I thought the bus that Juan had was a Via bus, like one of those old Via buses, but I was wrong. That's like a real bus. That's like old school, right? And then I have Juanito's information here. I have to carefully separate this because I'm going to pull that out and frame it. And you know, it's crazy with these old scrapbooks. We ended up preserving a lot of stuff, but removing pictures from these sheets is a catastrophe. I mean, you end up destroying so many pictures. So, but look at this. Look, Juanito, there's you and Maria. Huh? I need your vote. And these are all the, oh no, these are all of his qualifications. Chairman, Policy and Planning Committee, City San Antonio. Chairman, Review of Outside Social Service Agencies. Liaison San Antonio Agency. Present Member Housing Task Force. Member Small Business Committee. Member Action Committee Advisory Board. Bexar County Housing Task Force. Member of the Local Government good Lord, it's amazing. Look at this. Let me see if I can have you take a look at that. Well, that's not easy. Okay, so that is the Juanito information. I also want to share an idea with you that I will be pursuing over the next few months. And this is essentially a little heads up for a future series. And the series is going to be called, okay, let me back up here. As I contemplated this house, the Farragut house, I thought there's so many life lessons that we and our children and grandchildren can learn from this small, humble house. And I will be reaching out to many of you about creating a video with your life lessons. What Solis life lessons have you learned? And this would also appeal, this would also, like, let's take Rachel, okay? I would ask Rachel, what are the Solis life lessons that you learned from your father? And what are the lessons you learned from your mother? And Tia Gloria's family, right? The goal is to preserve these stories, but furthermore, what can we learn from these stories? Like, one of the things that comes to mind is, and I got this from Jorge Luna, and what Jorge said is, isn't it incredible that our parents, grandparents, lived in a very challenging neighborhood, but everyone just did wonderful things in life when it could have been easy to say, oh, I ended up becoming a drug addict, an alcoholic, I ended up going to jail, because historically that happens, right? When you come from very humble beginnings, and if you come from a very challenging neighborhood. And the life lesson is they made it happen. They prove that you can come from a house with no doors, because literally there's no doors in that house. They had to make do with what they had. And some of the other life lessons, for example, I think it was Tia Carmen who said Tio Neto would go and fetch apples, and he'd open his shirt, and the homeowner would say, oh, here's 2 apples. And Tio Neto would say, but I have a bunch of brothers and sisters, can I have more? And that right there is a life lesson that I think should be remembered, told, and shared on this platform. So that's my project moving forward. I still am waiting for the quote from Candela, Mexico, from Mr. Cifuentes. I'm going to tell you something. One of the things that I've learned about doing business with people in Mexico is they run on such a different calendar. Oh my God. They tell you something's going to happen in 2 weeks. It's going to be 2 months. And they don't like to be pushed, and they don't like to be badgered. So I'm still going to stay on it because I have a very deep interest in learning more about Candela, Mexico, where our grandmother was born and where she's from. So I would love to see images of the town, and Mr. Cifuentes has already made contact with the mayor, with the tourism board of Candela, and some other people there. So I'm being very patient, and I'm going to follow up in a few days and say, hey, we're really excited, X, Y, and Z. What I'm going to have to do again is blow up his Facebook page and start liking all of his stuff, and that's my indication to him that I'm still here, I want to do business. So that's where that is going. Okay, familia, so I wanted to share that with you about Mr. Del Valle. I made an effort to get Tio Rene over there. One of the ideas that I have, because I would still love for Tio Rene to share stories with us about that house, and the idea that I have is potentially visiting Laredo and setting up a situation where we have the TV set up where Tio Rene is watching the video with me and other people, and he is sharing stories about what he is seeing. I'll turn off the volume, and then Tio Rene, can say, oh, this is this, this is that. Tio Rene is going to be going to Europe in June with Tia Nena for, I believe, a month. So this may be a July project, but I think we can achieve part of the goal, which is hearing these stories, sharing these stories online in reference to the Faragut. I'm gonna try. I have to figure out how to pronounce that name because it's a great name. In closing, I don't think I have anything else to share. And of course, I went to 21 minutes, just as I thought. So at least you got the executive summary. So that's what I'm going to try to do moving forward. In 3 to 4 minutes, I'm going to give you all of the information I'm going to share, and then I'll get into the details later. And I'm going to do that for 2 reasons. Number 1, all of you are busy. And number 2, if you're interested in learning more about what I'm going to be talking about, you can continue to watch the video. If you have any suggestions, ideas, etc., let me know. And one more side note, and I may not have mentioned this, but if something occurs to you, a story, or you're like, oh my God, I've got to share this wonderful story with you, send me a text and your email address. And what I can do is, from the Solis Memorial channel, I'll send you an email that will allow you to upload your video. It gives you 30 days, and I can keep sending it over and over again. And this way, you can share your video, your perspective, and you don't have to wait for me to come over and shoot the video. But also, there's going to be moments in time where you may just want to say, I want to share something with the entire family, but it's it'd be too long for the group chat, right? Another idea that I have before I forget is Tio Neto, Tio Pancho had so many wonderful jokes. And I want to start a series about Solis humor, which is also what I call a life lesson from the Solises. I will never understand how so many of our tios were basically hilarious. They were so funny, the jokes. I mean, Tio Neto's jokes were mind-boggling, and I just am so frustrated and so sad that I could not have sat down with him with the video and just captured an hour worth of jokes. Can you imagine that? So having said that, I think there's enough of us out here who may remember jokes, who may remember funny stories, and that will be another series that I can envision. And what I would like to do is maybe post 5 or 6 videos from individuals who are interested in participating, and it will be a whole series, 6 videos here, 6 videos there. And I thought to myself, as a joke, I'd love to start something called Solis Films, and there's actually someone out there who started a company called Solis Films, and so that's not a possibility. And I thought, oh, this would be kind of cute, I'll send out correspondence with Solis Films or something along the line. So that idea is not going to go anywhere, but so be it. All right, familia, y'all take care. God bless, and we'll be in touch. If you have any suggestions, ideas, complaints, criticisms, etc., feel free to share them with me. I'm not getting paid for this. I can't get fired, so it doesn't really matter. Ciao.